What's up, everybody? This is Retro Breakdown. My name is Razzle, once again here with some Gen X and Millennial memes. Right out the gate, we lost a good one last week. We lost Chuck Norris, Charles Norris, whatever his real name is, doesn't matter. He was the best. He had two careers, really, right? He had the career in the movies that we grew up with when we were young and little. He had those. And then he had a resurgence with the memes. And those Chuck Norris memes and jokes were something that everybody bonded on. Everybody knew, everybody came up with them. They were funny. We understood how awesome Chuck Norris was. I posted a couple of them on the internet, on TikTok and on Instagram and all of them last week in memory of Chuck Norris. And one of the TikTok one exploded and went really viral. And the first slideshow was, I want to read a couple of the comments because it's going so viral right now. People are chiming in the comments. This is how awesome Chuck Norris is. He's bringing us all together. The Chuck Norris memes were great because it's one of those memes where it's almost like the start of the comment section, right? Like there's a lot of people do these comment section type videos. And what's good about the Chuck Norris ones is everybody makes them up. And you don't need pictures, you can just have a sentence. And it builds community because it's such an improv game where it's like yes and, right? You know the rules, you know the game. Hey, I want to play. Do you want to play? You can play too. And I love this. I love seeing all of these funny ones that people on the internet are posting. Especially on this TikTok feed. Like the one I posted, the cover image was, Jesus can walk on water, Chuck Norris can swim through land, right? I'm going to read a couple of these because these are funny. I'm going to read two of them. You can go to the page. There's some people that, one person was like, it was impossible for Chuck Norris to die, so he did the impossible. This one goes, Chuck Norris once picked an apple from an orange tree and made lemonade with it. That's how awesome Chuck Norris is. Someone else in the comments goes, when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, he had 2 missed calls from Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was awesome. Chuck Norris was one of those guys who looked blue collar, and the movies he made were super silly, super cheesy, but they were action movies almost before all these action movies. Chuck Norris made the Expendables types of movies before the Expendables came out. And then he did the Walker, Texas Ranger. We all know that. That was a big show. But the memes and the jokes really just brought everybody else together, brought our generation together because that's what we knew him. We knew him. We had him in his movies. We had Walker, Texas Ranger. We had just Chuck Norris, blue denim, fighting with his fists. And R.I.P. This episode goes out to Chuck Norris. Here, let's do some more memes now. This one's funny. This one's from the 80s girlies. I saw them post this again. They're another funny meme, nostalgia meme account. And this one I commented on, and I still get notifications from my comment. I'll read my comment last because it's pretty funny. I also was really early, so I might say some other ones that are similar. But here we go. This one is Arthur. We all know Arthur, the Aardvark, right? Arthur through the years, the 1970s, the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, and then in 2022 before they stopped making his show and his cartoon. This person just goes, we must address plastic surgery addiction in the Aardvark community. Another person goes, 2022 Arthur has opinions about the local craft brewing scene, and he's absolutely going to tell you about them. I mean, 2022 Arthur looks like he looks like he's a blogger or like a podcaster on like a New York Times or like an NPR type of show. He's got one of those like hipster kinds of, hey, let's talk about let's talk about books. Or let's talk about what offends you. Let me tell you something about Gen X and millennials and zennials. Elder millennials, I should say. Not much offends us. Not much does. We grew up with it all. We heard it all. And we're a tough breed. And the 2022 Arthur just looks like he gets offended at someone. It's like there's a new show called The Madison by Taylor Sheridan, and there's a scene where some Indians, some Native Americans bring him. They make them some tacos, and they call them Indian tacos. And one of the young girls goes, "You can't call them that." And the guy goes, the husband who's bringing them, he's married to an Indian. He goes, "But the people who make them," he's like, "But that's what the Indians call them." And that looks like what 2022 Arthur looks like. He gets upset at calling something else. Not to get political on this channel. This channel is just about nostalgia and everything, but it is something about our generation, Gen X. Like, we were latchkey kids. We walked home, we got bullied, we did stuff. I used to have a joke when I need to get back to doing stand-up. It's been a minute, but I used to have a joke where it's like cyberbullying is a thing now. And I don't think it should be called cyberbullying unless you Venmo somebody your lunch money, because we know what real bullying is. Get off the internet. Like, if you're getting cyberbullied, put your phone down and go play outside. When we got bullied, we had to find a different way home because the bully was on the shortest route. This person just goes, "Bro had more nose jobs than Michael Jackson." From an anteater to a horse to a camel to a mouse and finally to a furry. Quite the arc. And then here's mine. I gotta say, and this is a few weeks ago. This one's got the most amount of likes. Not to toot my own horn. Toot. He's taken that Nozempic. I thought that's pretty clever, pretty funny. Here's another one. I just turned 44. As I mentioned, I think in my last videos, I turned 44 on March 5th. I'm a Pisces. I was born in 1982. March 5th, 1982. I just turned 44. And math is interesting. Math is a wild thing because my buddy also turned 50. My buddy Kyle turned 50 a couple weeks ago. And it was a karaoke party. And somebody was singing Little Red Corvette. And me and my buddy Darren, he's another director. We were talking, and we were talking about it because it's like, man, this song, Little Red Corvette's like 40 some years old, right? And then we were doing the math, and we're like singing Little Red Corvette, singing Prince, singing Bon Jovi, singing songs from the 80s today in 2026 for karaoke is like singing, Pennies from Heaven or Somewhere Over the Rainbow in the 80s. 40 years is 40 years. In the 80s, something that came out in 1940 was like big band and like Benny Goodman. And then now it's like Prince and Bon Jovi and Poison. Math is so wild. I have friends now who are older, who are 44. It might even be 44. I'd have to do the math. But I think Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd was like 45 maybe when he played Doc Brown. And that's so wild to me because obviously makeup made him look older. But even in 1955, when he was younger, he still looked older than 45. He always looked old. Like people looked older always, and it's wild. And for this meme, this is what I mean by time's just a wild thing. Danny Glover was 41 when he decided he was too old for this shit in Lethal Weapon. Let that sink in. The famous quote, he said it a bunch. He said it in all of them. Danny Glover, he's about to retire. He's playing a 45-year-old. Or no, he was playing like a 55-year-old, I think, because someone in the comments even said that. But he was 41. He was 41, and he looked like a man. And look, we're all 41-year-olds we're looking younger and younger, but it's so wild to me. It's like the Golden Girls are younger than the Sex and the City girls right now. Mind blowing. And somebody just commented, Dave Oak 81 goes, didn't they have vegetables in the 80s? This person goes, and he was obsessed with retiring and buying a boat. Good man. They were built different back then. Their diets consisted of 12 packs and Marlboro daily. Marlboro. I'm 41 and I still can't say Marlboro. How do you say Marlboro cigarettes? Can anybody actually pronounce it properly? They were built different back then. Their diets consisted of 12 packs of Marlboro daily. Sean Connery was only 12 years older than Harrison Ford when he played his father in Last Crusade. Time is wild. Looked 60 and stayed that way for 30 years. This person just goes, back in the day, people aged faster. By 20, you were an adult. By 30-something, you were a middle-aged guy. And by 60, an old man. I'm nearly 40, and I still have the physique of a young guy and the face of an early 20s. Congrats, Andrew D. Olivier, 88. Congrats. This one's obviously, look, this is another one that had kind of like two lives, right? There was the commercial. There was a brief time in the 80s. Here's the meme. There was a brief time in the 80s when you could pull up next to someone at a red light and ask if they had any mustard. Now, obviously, we know what this is, but this had two lives. There was when it was the commercial in the 80s, and then when they parodied it in Wayne's World. I'm a little bit, I don't remember much of it as a real commercial other than the Wayne's World. I remember it as a Wayne's World, and then once YouTube and all that came out, then I remember the commercials. But I'm of that weird age where it's like, I wasn't watching a lot of late night TV to see that kind of a commercial. But this person just goes, it says like a red light and ask if they had any mustard. This person just goes, that's what Big Mustard wanted you to believe. Apparently, ultra-rich Brits in the 80s were slinging glizzies in their Rolls Royces. Who knew? Glizzies, if you don't know. For Gen X and Zennials and elder millennials, glizzies are what Gen Z and Glen Alpha are. And what glizzies are what Gen Z and Gen Alpha are calling hot dogs. This King's Pleasure just goes, this was our 6-7. We should bring this back level. We should bring back this level of sophistication. This person just goes, Mike Knox Comedy goes, I used to carry some in the glove box just in case. And then Jam Green goes, because it says mustard, it just says mustard. It doesn't say Grey Poupon. It just says mustard. It had to be a very specific type of mustard, though. Because it wasn't just, pardon me, do you have any mustard? No. You pull up to you drive up to somebody, you stop, you roll your window down, they roll their window down, and you ask them, pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? And that's the commercial. And this person just goes, true story. In 1997, I was on a boat 15 miles off the coast of California on our way to Catalina Island when we were flagged down by a vessel with a distress signal. When we stopped, they yelled to us, pardon me, but would you happen to have any Grey Poupon? Now that's, everybody knew it. It was such a funny commercial. They also don't have commercials like that anymore, do they? Are there commercials where, the last commercial I can really think of that had a phrase is, can you hear me now? Remember those Verizon commercials, can you hear me now? Commercials in the 80s and 90s and 70s for people older than me, they had catchphrases. There were campaigns. Companies had, like, look, you got McDonald's, I'm loving it, but that's ba, 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 that's just a tune. Are there commercials these days where there's an actual, like, slogan or catchphrase that everybody uses and parodies? You know, what's up was a good one, too. Here's one more here for you. This one. I'm a wrestling fan. I got a tattoo of Macho Man Randy Savage doing an elbow drop on my elbow. So I love this one. The hot topic in JCPenney managers heading to the food court on lunch break. This got Heartbreak Kid isn't wearing a Nightmare Before Christmas shirt. This guy goes, HBK isn't wearing Nightmare Before Christmas t-shirt, so this is in fact false. Here's the thing. Let me tell you something. The first hot topic I knew about was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. My brother and I, we would drive there. And this is before Nightmare Before Christmas became a cult classic thing. They had old He-Man shirts. They had old G.I. Joe shirts. They had old cartoon types of shirts. They weren't as goth as they got goth in the late 90s, early 2000s. But in the early 90s, in the mid 90s, it was more about nostalgia from movies and TV and like Dukes of Hazzard and that type of nostalgia. It wasn't super goth until maybe I would even say 99 is when it 99 early 2000s when it got kind of punk and goth. Then it became super goth with Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. But old Hot Topic wasn't in every mall, and you had to drive. In Michigan we had to drive to Ann Arbor to get it, and it was more vintage, like mimicky types of nostalgia type of stuff. This person just goes, back when you could earn a living working in retail. Man, everything's expensive these days. This person, Tyra Martin, just goes, that guy definitely works at Bacharach. Remember that? Ben71 just comments, he comments, Spencer's was classic. Part head shop, marital aids for sale, and tremendous gag gifts too. Here's a question for you. What was your favorite store in the shopping mall? In the 80s, in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s. Let's say 80s and 90s. Cap it there. If you're a young millennial, no 2000s, just 90s and 80s. What was your favorite shopping mall? What was your favorite store in the shopping mall? If you're watching this, if you made it this far, this is still a new channel. This is still new videos. I'm getting 73 views on these. Who knows if you're even making it to the end because YouTube counts a view as a minute, I think. But what was your favorite store in the shopping mall? Comment below. All right, that's that. Those are the memes I got for today. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, thanks again. This is a new nostalgia retro channel that I want to do just to kind of wax nostalgic about our childhoods, and commiserate and build a community of fun, like-minded people who have shared experiences. Check out some of my other videos. I got some more deep dives coming soon. Those are a little bit harder effort. So I'm going to do them in seasons. I'm going to do them in 6-episode chunks. So I got 6 episodes out right now, 5 or 6 episodes. So go check. I might only have 5. So go check those out. If you like the Schwann's Man, if you remember the Schwann's Man, or if you remember Saturday morning cartoons, or I have some about when Pizza Hut was awesome. Go check those out. They're fun. Deep dives with pictures and voiceover. I think you'll enjoy those. And give me a like, give me a comment, give me a follow, give me a subscribe. Appreciate you. If you're watching this on TikTok, I might start putting all of these on TikTok. I think I can put up to 10 minutes on TikTok. Maybe I'll see. But maybe I'll just put the whole thing up and see if they'll let me. But thanks for watching, and appreciate you.